Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today on the website of French auction portal Intershare, we're going to have a look at another auction by Vichy Auctions, one of the largest musical instrument auctioneers in France. They also do other auctions as well, but they do a lot on musical instruments. So if you've been watching the channel recently, you'll see that we did an auction of theirs recently. That was due to finish on the 30th of May, so well, tomorrow that's ending, but this one is finishing on the 31st of May. They got three back to back. They're progressively getting kind of better, like higher value stuff. This is kind of mid-tier stuff, and there'll be another auction that I'll review in the next few days, which is like the high-end stuff. So yeah, this is kind of middle tier stuff. So here we have the auction finishing on the 31st of May, 24%. That's the buyer's premium you pay on top of the hammer fee, 448 lots, so really quite a lot. So we're going to have to blitz through this. This is a French auction, so bear that in mind if you're looking to bid. Import, export fees, CITES restrictions, all of that kind of fun stuff awaits you. Yeah, so I think without further ado, let's just crack on and see what we've got. And just to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like or comment, because it really does help. We're just going to blitz through these because it really is like a lot of stuff, a lot of French items, which can be interesting, but also if there's too much of it, we're just going to have to go through and select a few things here and there. Probably a lot of bows are going to get kind of ignored, unfortunately. But in any case, let's have a look at here. The first thing, we've got a cello without its neck. It's got a Rampel certificate. That's the other thing, actually. Things from this auction will come with a certificate or the option for a certificate. Let's see what else. We've got some miracle stuff. Let's have a look here. Violin by Amédée Dieudonné, Miracle 1937. 800 to 1000 on that. Looks quite nice. This stuff is definitely a lot better than the other auctions. See a lot of French things here. Let's have a look in this one. Violin by Jean Strebig, Miracle 1955. 1000 to 1500 euros there. Definitely worth looking at this auction in more detail if you are interested in buying something. Violin by Fausto Maria Bertucci, 1940. It's got a Fabricatore label, 1000 to 1500. Interesting enough looking instrument there. Some more miracle stuff. Like, this is all interesting stuff, but it's just that we have to be a bit ruthless going through this auction, unfortunately. So French 7/8 cello here in a state of repair, 1000 to 1500 euros there. Let's see what else we have. We've got a small viola here, Nicholas Matteo Miracle 1800. It's got that orangey varnish, 800 to 1000 euros there. Let's see what else we have. Let's have a look at this French violin. Albanus label on it, 2 to 2500 euros, 361 length at the back. Definitely needs a bit of TLC, but interesting front. Now we've got a few bows here. So the bows, we're just going to have to pick out a few random things here and there, otherwise this video will be very, very long. Let's have a look at this bow. Violin bow of Charles Nicolas Bazin, 1890, signed C. Bazin, 1000 to 1200. Looks nice enough. Let's see what else, if we can find another bow here worth looking at. Let's have a look at this one here. Violin bow Marc Lebert, 1930, 1800 to 2000. Let's carry on and see what else we have. Another Miracle violin here, 1000 to 1200. Mircore viola, 1000 to 1500. See what else is worth looking at. Okay, like violin Mittenwald School, 1965, 1000 to 1200. Actually, kind of fairly nice enough. Interesting scroll there, 1000 to 1200 euros. Okay, experimental violin. So J.C. Letellier, 1925. That's a curious looking thing. 800 to 1000 on that. We've got a Didier Nicolas Ain violin there, Mircore 1830. This one not as big length of back as a lot of them, 359. Needs a bit of TLC, but I quite like those violins, I have to say. Let's see, we've got more Mircore stuff here. A few kind of German bits and bobs. Let's see if there's anything that looks pretty curious. Let's have a look. Interesting. A tenor cello of Leo Sir, Fate Marmande, 1910. 2 to 3,000 euros. It's definitely a curious one. Onto some more bows here. Let's have a look at this. Violin bow by Marc Lebert, 1940. 1000 to 1200. Let's see what else we might have. Okay, a viola bow by Kurt Gerhard Penzel, 1970, 800 to 1000 there. Definitely some interesting bows. Let's actually look at this one. Cello bow, Roger Francois Lotte, 1970. Signed Jerome Devoir, 1200 to 1500 there. Okay, move on to the next page. Carry on a bit more Mircore stuff here, lots of French stuff. Let's have a look at this violin by Jean Petit-Colas, 1981, 358 length of back. Looks a bit like the centre join is opening a bit here, which probably needs some attention. Looks like it might have been attended to, but it's a little bit untidy, but otherwise actually quite a nice looking violin there, 2 to 3,000 euros. So I'm probably missing lots of very interesting stuff, but it's all about timing. Interesting bass here, Mircore bass, 3 to 3,500. Interesting back there, and this kind of strip here at the back. It's kind of curious looking. Yeah, it's a fairly interesting looking bass. Let's see what else we have. Lots of another bass there. Some German instruments. Let's see if there's anything that kind of grabs my attention. Not so much. Let's see if there's anything on the bow front. Let's have a look at this. Another violin bow by Charles Louis Bazar, 1930s, 1500 to 1800. This violin bow as well, Francois Lotte, 1945, 1000 to 1200. That's another fairly interesting bow. And here, cello bow there by Organer and Bergeron, 1995. Okay, interesting. Looks like it's got some provenance there, 2 to 2,500. It's quite a nice looking bow. So that's interesting. Carry on a bit further. Let's have a look at this violin. Violin of Charles Thuvenel, Mircore 1800, 1000 to 1200 there. carry on, see if anything is really jumping out. This has some interesting kind of F holes there. Violin, Albert de Blay, Miracle 1951, number 8124, 1000 to 1500. That's an interesting looking violin. 358 length of back. A German school violin here with a Ruggieri label. Definitely needs a bit of TLC, but has some charm. 1000 to 1500. Another German violin here, 2.5 to 3000 there. Mark Nukirkin, School of Frechner there. Interesting 350 length of back there. Once again, interesting scroll there. That was lot 666, interestingly. Let's see what else we have here. Let's have a look at this French violin. So it's got some little decoration to it. Curious little flowers and things that have been potentially... Oh, that's interesting. It's like an unfinished violin. That's curious. That is a very interesting. 1000 to 1500. That's quite a curious item. We're back to a few more bows here. Violin bow here by Morizon Frère, Louis Morizon Frère, 1960s, 1500 to 1800. Let's see what else we have. On to page 5. Okay, back onto instruments. Let's have a look at this. Violin by Lutfi Becker, 1984. 1000 to 1500. Looks a bit plain, but a little bit interesting. 357 length of back. Okay, let's see what else. Violin by Jean Picot for Alger, 1956. 1000 to 1500. Kind of edge work looks quite strong on this instrument. Be interesting to see in person. 1000 to 1500. If there's anything I missed that you think I should have mentioned, please do say. Like I say, I don't want the videos to be a couple of hours as they used to be, because it's kind of difficult to get through for me, let alone any other poor person that is going to watch them. So we just need to look for things which look curious. Interesting violin, signed B. Caroly, 1924. Tamaris, 1200 to 1500, length back 352. Okay, curious, interesting varnish here that's been used. Let's see what the scroll looks like. I quite like that kind of nice little turn there. Yeah, how curious. I think that is quite an interesting looking violin, so fair play for that wording. Let's have a look at this bow. Violin bow by the JTL Jerome Thibouville Lamy, 1940, 1500 to 2000. Interesting enough. Usually a bit more drawn to some of the older bows, personally. But there are definitely some nice bows here. A lot of, we're translating there, nice bizarre bows here. Violin bow by Louis Morizon, 1950. 1000 to 1200. So, yeah, definitely some nice bows here. Cello, German. Let's see what's going on here. 2000 to 2,500 there. It's interesting enough. More kind of French instruments here. Half-size contrabass. Another Amédée Dudouin. Another JTL. This looks a bit like the Diefenbrugger kind of model, but this one without that and these fancy inlays, 1500 to 2000. But it is that kind of Diefenbrucker kind of model, not particularly my kind of thing. Interesting French provincial violin with a label of Klotz, 360, 1500 to 2000 there. I quite like that. That's the kind of violin that I do quite enjoy. Some of these French provincial violins, probably kind of 1800, 18th century, kind of late 18th century in any case. That's a curious violin. Composite violin. Let's see if we can get a translate on this without invoking the wrath of Interanchers. 18th century composite violin with label for deconet, soundboard and ribs replaced. Okay, 355. So that is quite handy to read that. Interesting kind of detailing there. Certainly an interesting looking violin there. A cello by JTL there. Let's see what else. And a Breton. More cellos, a few more bows. See if there's anything interesting. A violin bow by Johannes Finkel. So these are Swiss bows, 1200 to 1500 there. And they're quite tidy. More bows here. Is there anything curious? This looks interesting. Violin bow by Auguste Lenoble, 1865, signed Picat, Paris. 2 to 2.5 there. Lots more kind of French violins here. Let's have a look at this German violin. Let's see what they're saying on this. Early 19th century German violin, probably from the Saxon school. Nothing too crazy there. Let's see what other stuff might be interesting. This one looks quite interesting. They're saying a beautiful violin by JTL. Del Gesù model there, 362, 1000 to 1200. That is actually quite nice, I have to say. And I am not usually a fan of the French violins of that period, but I quite like that actually. 1000 to 1200. Something quite nice about that and the wood choice. So yeah, I do quite like that. I think that is actually quite nice. It might make a good thumbnail for the video. 3/4 cello there. Okay. Oh, a violin Italian. Okay, let's pick up on this. Let's do a bit of a translate because my French is not that great. I'm trying to get through it as best as I can. Late 19th century Italian violin made in Cremona and probably by the Cavelli workshop, bearing the Magistrum Admirans label and the signature of Claudi Montefiore. Okay. 360 length of back. Interesting there. 1500 to 2000. Not something I would normally look at. The violin by Jean Streibig there. Miracle 1943 with interesting F-holes again. Nice wood there on the back. So it's definitely curious. Quite like this kind of continuation of the turn there on the scroll. I think that's quite nice. For me personally, it's probably everyone else probably hates it. A few more bows here. But let's carry on. Let's not get too distracted. Let's have a look at this bow here. Violin bow by Eugene Cugnot, Huri there, 1900, signed Lupo, 1800 to 2000 there. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, let's have a look at this violin bow by Charles Alfred Bazin, 1955. It's got ivory mounts, 1500 to 2000, so it's problematic there for the CITES stuff. Some more bits and pieces here. A Nicolas Cossat violin of Nicolas Cossat, Neufchâteau, 1880, 356, 2 to 2.5. I think these Calson school violins are quite nice, and a lot of people I think like them. They're solid kind of instruments. I think I prefer the Calson school to the kind of these Colomazat things personally, but that is my opinion. That probably no one else will agree with me on. Another French provincial violin here, 355. That one not so nice. Half size cello there, actually kind of interesting looking. Yeah, I quite like that German half size cello, 2 to 3,000 there. Another provincial violin, a label of Grosset, 1,500 to 2,000. Yeah, that's another nice scroll there. Another violin that I think is my kind of thing. So let's see what else we got here. Violin by Maurice Rougier, Toulon, 1951, 1,500 to 2,000. Nice enough, interesting varnish. Got another cello here. Let's just pull up our old Translate friend. 18th century cello with Seraphim label, recut and rebored. F's rebored and recut. Okay, interesting. 18th century French headstock. Cello from the collection of Luthier Maurice Breuers. Okay, interesting. 3 to 5,000 euros there in the estimate. Slightly odd kind of shape to that, but curious instrument. Some more Miyakory stuff. Is there anything? Another Miyako cello there. 2 to 3,000. Definitely needs a bit of TLC, but interesting. Let's have a look at this. A viola, modern viola, labelled Benito Tosello, 419. And it's in pretty good condition there. And a few more bows, why not? Let's just carry on a bit longer and see. Let's have a look at this. Cello bow there by Paul Conrad Schubert, 1955, 1,200 to 1,500. Slightly odd button there. I wonder if it's saying that this is not the original button. It's looking a little bit odd. Let's check. Missing silver button. There you go. It's looking a bit strange, I thought so. Not what I would expect, but anyway, other than that, interesting looking bow. A few nice bows here actually. This quite like. Violin bow, Jean-Joseph Martin, 1890. It's got a Lupo stamp as well. It's interesting. Some more French violins here. A few other bits in between. We're being a bit ruthless today, to be honest. Let's see what else we've got here. An interesting violin. There you go. That's what I like. It's got a label for Gabiso. Interesting 20th century violin. Yeah, it's kind of got some nice bits to it. 2 to 3. So, the French provincial violin, 1770. It's got a label for Le Pileux. Sure it'd be quite a nice violin once it's had some work done to it. Let's see what else is here. This looks like an interesting violin here. Let's just double check the details here. 18th century violin from the French school with Steiner label, head and ribs replaced, various restorations, worm mark, non-original piece on the back, 357. Interesting. 800 to 1,000 euros. Oh dear. I liked this until I saw the head, and then I thought, oh dear. Otherwise, quite like the front and the back, but that head is a definite no for me personally. We've got some interesting scrolls again. We had some scrolls in the other auction. Let's have a look at this. So it's a French provincial viola, 1760, in a Baroque setup. Interesting, 2.5 to 3,000, 399 length the back. Not the most exciting, but interesting to see one in Baroque setup. I think it's saying that the neck is original. I believe that's probably what the translation is. Original Baroque neck. Well, there you go. My French is not as bad as I thought. Starting to gradually understand things. Let's have a look at this bow. It's another violin bow by JTL, 1890, 1500 to 1800. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, we're on to the final page. Don't know how many things we've got left. Let's have a look at this. A violin bow by Jules Martin, 1880, 1890, 1500 to 1800. Okay. Is there anything else curious here? Oh, there we go. Violin bow by Charles Nicholas Bazin. There you go. 1200 to 1500. And that is it. So there we have it. That is the Vichy sale for the 31st of May. This is the middle tier sale that we have here. The next video I'll do will be the high-end stuff. I mean, some interesting stuff in this auction. We've really just blitzed through it really quickly as to not kind of bore everyone to tears, but I think there are some interesting things here. I would recommend going through the catalogue yourself. Definitely a few interesting of the older French things and a few other curious bits about. We didn't look at everything, but I think a nice auction overall. I always feel that there's a bit too many lots in these Vichy auctions, and they'd be better off splitting it into a 4th day rather than 3 days of 400 plus instruments, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'll put a link in the description as always. Check it out and see what you think, and please support the channel if you're able to. So many thanks, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.